Hey, Amanda, could you pass me the Leitungswasser? It means tap water. Do you want to sing, everyone, the Germany song? Come to Germania, come to Germania. I just made that up. Hi, everybody. It's Vinny and Amanda. We've switched up the video format just to keep it fresh and exciting for you. We are still in Munich, Bavaria, Germany. And we are pretty high on life today after being at Oktoberfest. We had a really wonderful time. It was everything people said it was. And even on a Monday, a ton of people. But that is still for another video. We are here to talk about our time with the Germans. And we had 2 house concerts put together by our friends Jürgen and Lisa. I refer to them as the Germans because on the rock boat, which many of you are familiar with, they are known as simply the Germans. And I can go around the country and around the world a little bit, and I can say, "Hey, do you guys know the Germans?" And people will be like, "Yes," and they know exactly who I'm talking about. And that was pretty neat, because I'll say, "Do you know who Benny Bassett is?" And they'll be like, But we had one house concert with a musician, David Kern. That's right. And he is in a band as well as writes some really wonderful music as a solo artist, and hosted us at his house, and even opened for us, and played a handful of songs that I just really loved. He had a cellist named Benny, but Benny with an I, so we can both be famous and be all right. I told him that, and it was I love cello. I'm just gonna go ahead and be honest with it. It was really wonderful.
It made us feel even worse that we hadn't learned any German, because his songs just sounded really poetic and beautiful and heartfelt. So I wish I understood them. They could have been about Pop-Tarts for all I know. But
I do love a good Pop-Tart. But that was in in the town of Oldenburg, which is where Lisa and Jürgen live, and we got in. Did we fly? Yeah, we flew to Hamburg and then took a train that was supposed to go from Hamburg to Oldenburg, and it went to Bremen, and then kaput, as they say here. Went kaput, and apparently there was some bridge trouble. And I will say that in almost every country, and I've said something about this at the house concert, that we're very lucky that a lot of these countries, folks know English or know enough English that we can work things out. And even on the trains, the announcements are often in 2 languages, multiple languages, except for when there's a problem. The announcements, the general announcements, the stops, all multiple languages. Emergencies, problems, issues, train cancellations, not in multiple languages. So we're just standing hearing a lot of German with the word Oldenburg and being like, that can't be good. And so I eventually asked someone, and they were like, the bridge is out. And I said, what? And I realized there could have been a communication breakdown, but essentially the next hour's worth, so it was like 3 or 4 trains that go through Oldenburg, were like, no today. So I was riding with the Germans, and I was like, help. And it's 45-minute drive for them, so they could have done it, but it was like, I didn't want to put them out, and it's still a work day for them, and it was Friday, and so I just said, or Jürgen said, let's wait an hour, and if the trains aren't running, we'll come get you. So we waited, we got some food, and sure enough, I just picked the next train, and the one before it didn't go. Ours did. No problem. Get picked up, go play the show. It's a group of kind of cross-pollination of David and his band's friends and Jürgen and Lisa's friends.
They're all like folks our age. Like they all have families. So there's like lots of little kids running around, and just like both the last time we were here 4 years ago and this time, you just immediately feel at home. Like they feel very much like second family, and just really warm and welcoming. And even when there is a language barrier, people are just kind of, it just feels good to like be in the same room with them. Like I don't know how else to say it. Like,
well, there are also, it's very interesting, I think, when especially more recently, as Babbel and all these different programs, Duolingo, and people have started learning more languages, we often, some people have the personality where they like to go try things out. They like to go try out what they've learned. And for a lot of folks in Germany specifically, they learn English in school. And so some of them, as adults, may not have used it in a while. And so some of them are very eager to like kind of test it back out, or, you know, I don't know. It just seemed like some people are like, they're like other personalities where they're like, I don't want to mess up. For me, I've learned Spanish my whole life, but whenever I go somewhere, I don't want to like ruin someone's language or embarrass myself. Yeah, like, and that's just not how people feel. Like we express that in both shows. We just really appreciate the, we don't take for granted that people are trying, and that people have spent a lot of time learning our language. We're very, 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 very lucky that is the case. And so it was really neat. Everybody at least took a moment to like come and say something to us, and
everybody introduced themselves. Like it was what.
And I think for me the thing was that like I just went to like go. David was making coffee for everybody, and I went to just talk to him about his, you know, I have like Amanda likes to call a dangerous level of knowledge of coffee, because I can sound like I know what I'm talking about, but I really don't. And so I like went and cornered him by his espresso machine, and I started asking him coffee questions, and then we just stopped doing life and started talking about all things, like from art. He's an English teacher, and I almost said music teacher, but I was like, nah, kind of. But just all things from like how I left my former career to music, and why we do music, and what it means to us, and being in a band, and how, you know, all this stuff. And all of a sudden we're like, everybody goes looking for David and Benny, like, where are these guys? Amanda like came around the corner, was like, we had just been gone. But it's like that kind of welcoming to your home. It's not like just being warm. It's like wanting to really know about you as a human being. And that's like a whole different level of existence. And it just makes you feel very, more than welcome. It makes you just feel human. And like, I think for me, when I'm on the road a lot, and us when we're on the road on this trip, sometimes we're just kind of, it's transactional, right? Like, let's get this food, do this thing, play this show, collect this money. It's very, everything's kind of souvenir. You know, like we've had some very similar style experiences, but the places where it slows down and people ask about you, or you learn about people's stories, is where you are like, how core memories or memories of these places will, you know, be held.
Like real connection.
Yeah. Real people. Deep connection. But anyway, really wonderful show. And then at the end, David and I played a couple songs together, which was cool.
It was a lot of fun.
He chose two good ones.
Yeah.
Or people chose two good ones, kind of between people and him.
Yeah. You were lucky both times, because everybody was choosing things in your own internal songbook.
I do always appreciate that. My joke I usually say at shows is, I'll take recommendations on. I'm happy to ruin anyone's favorite song. Yeah. I'm very happy to give it a shot. But yeah, it worked out really well. We stayed with Jürgen and Lisa in Oldenburg and got to see their lovely home, and they made us a nice spread for breakfast.
Our very favorite German breakfast is Brötchen.
Brötchen.
Kind of like having bagels in the morning, like just bread.
No. Don't you dare trash talk Brötchen.
I'm not trash talking.
It's nothing like bagels. It's way better. I love Brötchen. It is just like the heartiest, most amazing little beings of bread.
They're like the size of like good-sized dinner rolls.
Mm-hmm.
They usually have seeds and stuff on top.
Just fantastic.
And then you dress them up with all kinds of...
With everything.
Spreads, meats, cheeses. Some people...
Cream cheese.
Cream cheese.
Cream cheese rage.
We taught, much like we're learning some German, we taught our host Jürgen a phrase that we like to use a lot, which is rage.
And I learned it from Ryan, from our band, because he used to just, everything was, we're going to rage.
Yeah, like, we mean it in the sense, like, we're going to party hard, like, we're going to have a good time.
But it, you know, it also means not good connotations.
It also means, like, maybe you're angry and you want to flip over a bunch of tables.
Yeah,
but,
which is also raging, so it's applicable, but without the anger part.
Yeah. Anyway, we taught it to Jürgen, and he applied it beautifully.
To everything.
Great use of a new vocabulary word. We're very excited for our friend.
Yeah, because I was like, how did the cream cheese thing happen? It was like we needed to make sure there was cream cheese for every appearance of bread. And so, like, he was, like, bringing it to breakfast or something. And he walked out the door and I was like, oh, good, you got the cream cheese. And he just goes, cream cheese rage. And I was like, yes, exactly right.
Yeah, we had a great breakfast with them.
Yeah. And then Jürgen, before we left, he was like, hey, do you mind if I show you this video? So Jürgen is multi-talented, but for almost all his life, aside from his day job, he has done improv. And not just like improv, like Second City, all the normal things, but he has like dramatic. He has a very artistic worldview of improv where it's like he wants it to not just be light and comedic. He wants it to be improv that moves you. Mm-hmm. And makes you think and makes you feel in deep ways, which is like, that's a lot for improv to do on the on a not on a whim, but like from out of the ether.
Lisa are heavily involved in theater. They're both performers and super talented. And I think something we all talked about at breakfast was about, you know, always being in search or trying to create just things that either connect human beings, kind of like we were talking about for like house concerts, to like things that form connection, but also just anything that will move you, that will kind of keep you thinking about a subject or wanting to like ask more questions or talk about it. It's all kind of about discovery and connection. It was really beautiful, and they both are in fields that allow them to pursue that. So both super duper talented theater folks.
But he has watched this video once a year. He gets together with guys. It's all guys, so I feel safe saying that. That do an improv music. So for like a full set, hour and a half, they're just taking a genre or styles of music and suggestions for things to write about and making songs. And he played us one. It was fantastic.
It was beautiful.
About Sonnenblumen, sunflowers. And we were like, we need more. Can we hear one more? And he was like, what, really? And we're like, yes, we actually really thought it was... And then he played us this like 80s style synth-driven song that had the lyrics. It was like about on, off, like
sometimes you're feeling on and you're feeling off.
Yeah, and he had a really catchy like chorus
about it.
A good
hook.
Yeah. Anyway, really freaking awesome.
Yeah.
And I say it all the time when I get to see performance or music that I'm always the one doing it. So it's not often that I get to go see a performance or see a show, and I enjoy it just as much as when I get to do it. And it's less work for me when I don't have to do it. So
that's true.
I'm just, the core of this is I like to be lazy and watch performances.
That's not
But anyway, we then they went and they were like, we're going to show you this castle in Oldenburg, and like it's like the oldest pedestrian walk, no cars in Germany, they said, thus Oldenburg. And they were super excited. We like all these things they want to show us. And we get down, we're like, all these streets they're trying to turn on. They're like, oh, they're closed. What the heck is going on? And then they realize it's like Oktoberfest or Kramermarkt, which is like their localized version of Oktoberfest. And there's a gigantic parade.
It was so huge. Probably one of the biggest parades I've ever seen.
It was big.
Yeah, especially for a town
of 170,000, which isn't tiny, but like everyone was there.
It was a very
Every
big
human
parade.
being.
Yeah.
And like the local soccer/football team, the radio stations, judo demonstrations, the local like what would be like Elks Lodge for us, like band, like just everybody.
Ben collected a lot of German candy.
I did, and
what happened?
You know what?
Did you eat all of it?
I did not, because I would have died. I collected a lot.
Okay, I want to see some of that later.
It's gone. I gave it to some kids, and I threw one of them away because I had a bunch of trash in my pocket, and you know sometimes candy like melts and the wrapper is like just part of the candy, and there was a couple of those too.
You were the stranger that gave some kids some candy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't know I was American, so they probably ate it. They also threw out like one thing was throwing out stuffed animals. They were like legitimate things.
Good full-size stuffed
I was
animals.
waiting for someone to get drilled by like a stuffed elephant or something. Then there was like some people were throwing weird breakfast cereal bags, which I really liked.
Yeah, tastes like Trix.
It was like Trix. Silly rabbit.
Anyway, we're trying to like navigate what was supposed to be just an Oldenburg
like
but
super.
Got interrupted
he kept
by
just saying Oldenburg is Jürgen kept saying it's normally really chill. He's like, over here it's very quiet and you can read books. And then we turned around and it was just like,
yeah. Oh, what is the name of the pop music? Like
Schlager, German Schlager.
German Schlager.
It means like house music essentially.
Yeah,
like
for a
they
club.
said they would tell us that every German goes to Mallorca in Spain, like the island of Mallorca, and only thing that happens there is German Schlager. It's just house music, unst music, which is a German sound. So there you go. It makes sense. Unst. Sorry, I thought that was a good joke. Yeah, I'm gonna have to run it by the Germans and see what they
we circumvented the parade and finally ended up.
No, we just crossed it. We just cut right through it, and Jürgen went first, and he's very tall, so he proved that if he could get through, we could make it too. Mm-hmm. So we just ran across. We saw like the palace in downtown. We saw this really wonderfully beautiful church in downtown. And then we also saw the castle was the palace. Palace was the castle. But there was one other building, really beautiful building. Another building. And then they took us up on top of the parking garage, which is such a like John Hughes Americana beautiful moment to like go up high on a building that's not built for that purpose, but then to kind of look out over a really beautiful space. And we got to look out over the city of Oldenburg, and you could see the really beautiful church spires, and it was just a perfectly beautiful day, and everything is very busy because the entire city's out for the parade, and the parade is just let out, so it's just kind of very surreal, like you can see Oldenburg happening like below you. It was very cool. I thought it was really neat.
That's great.
Yeah. Then we had a house concert in Leer, so we had to drive up to Leer, maybe half hour or so, 40 minutes. On the Autobahn, that was our first time on the Autobahn. We had only taken trains and stuff, and it really is still no speed limit. I didn't know that was still a thing.
But
I thought they'd kind of changed that.
It sort of felt
Well, there were a couple insane people.
Wow.
But
much like our highways at home.
yeah, except it was legal.
We the occasion for this house concert was celebrating Michael's birthday that had been a few days earlier.
Which the last time we were here was his wife Monica's birthday. So I have picked the right times to come in order to play at their house. And it was a little different crew because it was also Mother's Day that last time. So a couple of the folks that we tell a lot of stories about when we talk about our last visit weren't able to be there because they were on holiday, as it's still kind of the end of the holiday season, summer holiday. And but it was like some new folks and some folks we'd seen last time. So it was like a good blend of some new blood and old blood. And I had my PA this time, which last time I didn't have any of that. So it was a little bit different show-wise. They have a piano right in the living room, so I tried to do a couple piano songs, including one that we do together.
We've been covering Crowded House's Don't Dream It's Over a lot this tour, and with the piano present, Ben decided to make it a piano tune. I thought it was really beautiful.
I thought it turned out really nice.
Yeah. Nice.
I may have played it a little slower on the piano.
Okay.
Okay, all right. Sorry. We never really talked about it, so recap live. But yeah, just a really nice, really wonderful show. And afterwards, we caught up with one of our favorite Laertian, Ostfriesian superheroes, Tristan, who was...
He was a teenager.
He was, what,
when we were
16
here
maybe
first
when we were here last
Yeah.
time? And if you've talked to us about that trip, we've told you the story about walking through this super old German town while this kid is like hopping around on his BMX bike. And now, 4 years later, he's like in police academy, still very funny and full of like, he could be an SNL skit just following this kid.
Tristanisms. It's not, and I don't mean this as a way to make fun of him, but I love the way that like the words he chooses when he's kind of like translating from German to English, and so the way it comes out and just his tone is so funny.
The most recent one was we were talking about going to Oktoberfest, and he's like telling us about this famous person we need to meet, and then about this ride, and he starts to describe the ride, and he goes, "This is the end of my English."
Yeah, he was doing really well, and then kind of got a little tongue-tied, and he said, "This is where my English ends."
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got so many Tristan stories. But
The other one was we were having breakfast with them, like another traditional great breakfast, and I said something about liking donuts, and he was like, "Oh yeah."
Oh yeah.
He was like, "I love." I said because the story in the U.S. is we always say police officers love donuts, and so he's like, "Oh yes, I love donuts." And he said something like, "If you were going to lay a trap for me,
if you're going to ambush me, you could just line up some donuts, and I would be, oh, a donut, a donut, and then you could put me in a cage."
And he goes, "As long as I have donuts, I don't care."
He said, "I don't have to work, and I have all these donuts. I don't mind the cage."
That was just at breakfast. It was amazing.
He's such a hoot.
Yeah.
Also very proud of him. He seems like a...
I said during the show, I said there's a beautiful connection between the phrase we remember him from the first time we were there was we came in and he's like, "Do you need a Wi-Fi password? Do you need water? I am the boy for everything," is what he told us. Yeah. And he did everything, helped us out. Helpful. And I said there's a great connection between being that helpful as like a teenager and now choosing a career path which will help his community and people around him. And I thought that was very nice. So that's what I said during the show. And I may have called him out in front of a bunch of people, but so what? It was the truth. Yeah. But anyway, had just another really wonderful show and breakfast and time with them. And just like any other point of this trip, we could have stayed there for a month and it still wouldn't have been enough time. It's just wherever we go, we want to stay because, one, we're together. I could just be saying that for me, but I think I'm covering both of our feelings on it. Two, it's been incredibly perfect weather almost nearly every day we've been here anywhere on this trip. And three, we've just met good people. Minus that one dude that wanted to fight me in Den Haag. We have met really incredibly nice, warm, welcoming folks even the folks that like have given us food or everyone has just been really nice. And I think I had some trepidation as an American kind of how folks view us in the world over the last few years and how that might be played out overseas. And it's nice to just feel very welcome and feel treated well. Yeah. So that was the end of the shows. And now we just get some vacation. And we're really looking forward to the next week and a half and our first time in Italy, our first time in Switzerland, and today, our first time at Oktoberfest. We're going to tell you about it in the next video. So stick around for some steins and stories. Next one. We'll see you.